Hi, everybody. It's Jez. So, as you can tell by the title, today I'm going to be talking about finding the right IO program for you. This video is inspired by the amount of people who've been coming to me and asking me how to find a good program that suits them. I've had a good amount of people write me and ask me questions like that. So I figured this would probably be a good video to kind of address, because I realized that some people don't even have the necessary resources to even start looking for a good grad program and all of that. So I wanted to talk a little bit about that today. And it is talking specifically to IO, but this can be applied to any graduate program, okay? Because ultimately you need these things that I'm going to be discussing to you guys to look for a program that will be suitable for your needs. So let me get into this video. Okay. So, and honestly, these tips are inspired by how I decided to go for a specific program. So these are kind of what I used, and you guys know I've applied to a lot of schools. If you watched my previous videos, I've applied to a whole lot of schools. So I kind of had this checklist as to looking into programs and what they had and what I could use, and et cetera, for that. So that's what I'm going by. Obviously, there are a lot of different ways to go and find the right program for you, but these are just my tips, okay? So the first tip is to know your goals and be honest about it. If you are undecided, that's okay. So the reason why I say that is because if you're looking into going applied, you need to find a program that will be more likely for you, that will allow you to get applied experiences. You don't want, if you're looking to go academic, you need to get a program that focuses on academic and not so much applied, because at the end of the day, when you go out into the realm, the career that you want to get into, if you don't have those right experiences and everything, it's not really going to work out for you in ways that you need it to. So that's my first tip. And if you're undecided, that is okay. What I would suggest is finding a program that has a balance. So you find a program that has an applied version and also an academic, and they kind of do it together. My school is a perfect example of this. I attend St. Louis University and the IO program there, and it basically has an applied version, also academic. So, and you get both of those experiences. So that's my first tip. My second tip is to consider your current situation. So in that sense of what can you afford, financially, what can you afford? Do you want to move? Because a lot of times when you go into grad school, you're going to have to move. So you have to consider, is moving a good thing for you? Like, do you want to do that, or do you want to stay by your family? So you have to make that decision on your own prior to. And do understand, like, if you wanna stay in town, like, first of all, the program has to be there. IO isn't really everywhere yet. A lot of people don't know what it is, but it is gaining traction and it will become more known. But just keep that in mind, because it kind of gets a little harder for IO programs. Not so much like clinical counseling, because those programs tend to be very well known, but for IO, it definitely is. And you also have to think about, I already talked about cost, but think about your financial status. Do you want to take out loans? Is that something you want to do? Do you want to get paid for going to school? You want to have a stipend? You want to have grants? That type of situation. You have to consider all of that before you even go out looking for a program, and kind of set your standard. Like, this is the X amount of money I will pay for a program, and that's that on that. So I just, write that down and have it in your mind. So, and let me think if I got anything else out here. Yeah. A lot of programs will offer you funding. That's the thing. Like, you have to figure that out when you're going for it. So anyways, specifically for industrial organizational psychology, where can I find these programs? Well, luckily for our field, there is Society for Industrial Organizational Psychology. And basically there's a website for it, psyop.org, SIOP.org, and you can go here and you can go, I believe it's something there, graduate programs. It has a list of all the different graduate programs offered for IO psychology in relevant fields. So relevant fields, I believe, include like management, organization behavior type of things, and possibly HR. I'm not 100% sure if there's some HR programs in there listed. But if you are interested in HR, you can go to SHRM. I don't know, SHRM is SHRM. And I don't know if it's .com or .org, but you can type that in Google, and you'll probably find more programs there as well that probably specifically more focus on HR. But For PSYOP, once you go through these, there are a lot of programs. You can filter it. If you wanted to strictly be industrial organizational psychology, you can filter it to that and then go through the programs and actually look. I mean, some programs don't update their website, their information on there, but I think a lot of them do. And when you look on there are a lot of things you need to consider. Okay, first is what type of applicants are they accepting? So what GRE scores are there on average? Are they there? The GPA, the experiences that you need, etc. Once you look at that, then you kind of want to look at, I believe it gives a description of the type of program it is. So I think it'll say more toward leaning towards academic or more towards leaning towards this. And I believe also PSYOP gives a ranking of graduate schools. So I believe it's like a top 50 list, and they'll, it ranks the programs and et cetera. So you can also get a clearer picture of the program that way. Once you kind of list out your school, I'll get into online and traditional in a second. Well, I guess I could get into it now. Also, it has for IO, also has traditional and online programs as well. So and that kind of goes into your current situation. Are you looking to stay home? Well, online could probably be really good for you unless you have a program, a university that has a program in your city and as such. So that's one way. But once you kind of found a list of schools, and mind you, there are a lot. So look at, the cost and all of that. I would also consider that. Ways to kind of dig in deeper into the school and what they have to offer is to actually go to the school page once you kind of look the overview at PSYOP, and then look at the program, research the program. You can contact students. Don't be afraid to contact current students. A lot of students want to answer questions. Mind you, don't be too, don't be too forward and, rude or anything of that nature. Just ask general questions about the program. And I would also, recommend you reaching out to the program director and asking them questions as well. And you can ask, when I looked at my first school for my master's, I called the school, Missouri State University. I called actually every single school that I wanted to, possibly apply for. And I asked them questions about funding. I asked them questions about, what do alum end up doing? I asked them all these types of questions. Some just referred me to the website. Others really sat there and explained and et cetera to me. And the one I ended up going to was the school, which was Missouri State. That director actually sat there and explained to me a lot of things about the program and the school. And to me, that's kind of a good sign, because in a sense, they make time for their students. And that program was a very great program. For a master's program, we had funding. We were doing very good there. So, I think that's a good thing to kind of consider when you are looking for a program and et cetera in that regard. The next thing is, I kind of touched on this when contacting the director, but they also programs also tend to have information about the alum right now in the school. So, the alum, yeah. So what they're doing now, placement for when, how long it took them to get out, to get a job once they graduated, where they're working at. That's really important. You really want to zone in on that, where are a lot of your alum working at. If you want to go into consulting and a lot of your alum are working, in academic jobs, this might not be the best program for you, because you're trying to figure out why are these people not going this route? Why are majority of the students, they come in with wanting to do this and then they end up going a different way? That could probably be problematic. And also when contacting students and such, you could also kind of gain, ask them about the classes, ask them what type of experiences are you getting? What are the demands placed on, can you give me a weekly, and kind of keep it small questions. Don't come in there asking a bunch, but just ask main questions that you really need to know. So what's your weekly hour like? How is it? Job-life balance, work-life balance. There it is, work-life balance. What's that like for you in this program? What are your demands? What are you expected to meet, and et cetera? Think of things that really matter of you and ask those questions, okay? And like I said, a lot of times, current students, they will help you. They're not against helping individuals and helping them move ahead. We love our program and we want the best, the best of people here, and we want to help people. So essentially, that is kind of what you need to do. I'm trying to think of at the top of my head, do I have any other tips for you guys as far as finding the right program for you? I mean, other than researching, I mean, the person you want to work with, that's what I would say. Make sure you do your research on them. The professor that you want to work with, really go deep down in the research and figure out what is it about this professor, why do I want to work with them, etc. I've kind of touched on this in other videos, but really start thinking of that, because that'll be really important as well. There's no point, if it's a great program, that's great, but it's no point of you attending if you don't have any interest if you don't have a match at that program. If you don't have the match or anything, just don't even, I wouldn't waste your time unless you're able to kind of adapt your interests and you're a little bit more flexible. Like, well, you know, if you're kind of all around and like, oh, I could deal with this or I could do that, then maybe, you know what I mean? I don't see anything wrong with you taking that route. But other than that, that's pretty much it. Like I said, just create your goals, know what your goals are, know what your career goals are, and kind of go in that way, you know, and know how much you want to spend for this program and how much time it's going to take for you to complete the program. You know, if it's something like you want to be done in like a year and a half or accelerate, and you don't really want to waste time with other programs. So you kind of have to put everything in perspective and tailor it to yourself. But I think, you know, if you kind of just follow that, be honest with yourself, and then considering your current situation, you will be fine. But as always, you know, feel free to reach out to me on Instagram, at JessieBessie__. And also don't forget to like and subscribe. And thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Oh, sorry, I didn't see this. What is better, MS or MA? And someone asked me this the other day. Personally, I don't really think it makes a difference. That's just kind of how the college sets it up. I think it's based on the college, it's kind of how they view psychology in a sense. That's just my hypothesis. I'm not 100% sure. It's more so the concentration that you have it in. And I would say, you know, when you're going into the work field, they don't really, you know, your education is important, but experiences kind of triumphs education sometimes. You know, if you have a master's and this next person has an MS and you guys are pretty much equal on everything else, that's not going to be the determining factor. Like, oh, she has an MA, she has an MS. That's not going to be it. They'll probably end up looking at more so experiences. And if it's even equal on that half, then they're probably going to be looking more towards fit, who fits better with the organization, not necessarily an MA person or an MS. So I hope that answers your question, but that honestly isn't a big deal. But anyways, if there aren't any more questions, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.